guys, it's Alexis, aka The Soft Reader, and I'm here today to do a tag video. One I guess I should have done a while ago, but I kind of didn't know it was a thing until recently. And that is the new to Booktube tag, which was originally created by Trina over at Between Chapters, and I will leave her channel and the original video down below. Definitely one of my favorite booktubers, so if you don't follow her, I highly recommend you do. Not that she needs, me to shout her out or anything, but she's really great. I love her opinions, and I love how professional she is in voicing all of her opinions, and yeah, I highly recommend you check her out. So I guess this is a tag you're supposed to do when you first start Booktube, and technically the first video I uploaded to Booktube was March of last year, so technically I guess I'm not exactly new to Booktube, but in reality I've really only been posting videos consistently since about September, October, so I'm still within the 6 months zone, kind of. So I guess it still counts. But I realized that I never really did an introduction to myself kind of thing, so I figured this tag was going to be the best way to do it. The first question is, where are you joining us from? And I am from Alabama in the United States, but currently, I'm actually going to be moving pretty soon, but currently I'm living in Birmingham. The next question is, how old are you? And currently I'm 22, but when I actually started posting videos to Booktube, I was 21. The next question is, why did you choose to join Booktube? And my answer is pretty simple. It's just that I like books. I've always liked books. I never knew this was a thing, or else I probably would have started a long time ago. But I kind of just, I have a lot of opinions about the books that I read, and I just wanted an outlet and a hobby, I guess, to be able to express my opinions on it. I don't really have any qualms about talking to myself in a room in front of a camera, so I figured, hey, why not? The next question is, what is the meaning behind your channel name? And of course, my name is The Sloth Reader, and it's kind of twofold. The first being that I'm not a fast reader. A lot of people in Booktube read really fast, and I don't. I'm a very slow reader. It takes me usually, I can't finish a book in a day, or if I do, it takes me like a 500-page book will take me 12 hours to read if I just sit down and read it in its entirety. I'm just a very slow reader, so that was kind of, also I'm kind of a slow reader because I read a lot of books at a time, so it probably has something to do with it. But that was one reason, and another is just that I've always very much identified with the sloth and their very lazy, slow, and laid-back lifestyle. That's pretty much a good description of me as a person. The next question is, what type of books do you read or want to talk about on your channel? My 3 favorite genres of books to read are fantasy, historical fiction, and dystopian. I don't care, I'll never get tired of dystopians. They're always fun for me. They always have been. I like science fiction as a genre a lot, but I find that I really don't read a lot of science fiction. My love for science fiction is more represented in a movie and TV show, in a more visual representation of science fiction, but I am trying to read more science fiction books because I do love the genre a lot. But I'll talk about anything. I still like contemporary, I don't mind paranormal, I don't mind a plotted romance book. The only thing I just typically don't pick up is just, those really cheesy erotica type romances. It's just not my thing. The next question is, who are some of your favorite authors? Definitely some of my favorite authors are Patrick Ness, Victoria Schwab, Nicola Yoon, Rochelle Mead. I have a fondness in my heart for her. I don't really feel like I have an author. There are a couple authors I have that are auto-buy, but I don't know, I don't really have a sentimental attachment to any author per se, A lot of people automatically go J.K. Rowling because they love Harry Potter. I don't really have that, but I would say for books that I've read by, the most read author of mine is Rochelle Mead, just because I have read more books by her than anybody else. But I would say that probably my favorite author is probably, at the moment, V.E. Schwab. And I don't see her ever not being one of my favorite authors. So, the next question is, what was the last book you finished? And the last book I finished was Beautiful Broken Girls by Kim Savage, which was a 1-star read. It was utter garbage. I'll leave my review to the link to my Goodreads review down below if you want to know why, but I hated that book. The next question is, what are you currently reading? And I'm currently reading The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. My book's over there, so I just grabbed the dust jacket. But I'm only about 100 pages in, but I'm really loving it so far. The next question is, what do you use for bookmarks? I have a couple of bookmarks that my friend Ashley made for me that I use, but one of the books I'm using is a library book, and the bookmark in it is just the sheet of paper I got from my library telling me when the book's due back. I have a list of stamps I'm currently using as a bookmark. Pretty much any sheet of paper I find is a usable bookmark. The next question is to show your TBR pile. Yep, just assume that most of these are unread. So we'll just say that most of my bookshelf is a TBR pile. So the next one is kind of a series of questions, and the first question is, which do you prefer, hardback or paperback? And while I love really floppy paperbacks, perfect example, The Remnant Chronicles by Mary E. Pearson has the floppiest paperbacks. I very specifically have waited to buy these in paperback because I love the paperback so much. But in general, I prefer hardback. Hardbacks are just a lot harder to mess up. And typically they come with a dust jacket, so even if, you know, you get dirt on it or the edges get scuffed, you just put a dust jacket on it and it looks brand new again. So typically I prefer to read hardbacks. Which do you prefer, ebooks or physical books? And both. I mean, I read an equal amount on both. I have a Kindle that I got for Christmas that I'm absolutely loving. I read a lot of ARCs that I get on there. And I read a lot of ebooks too. I'm trying to read as many ebooks, I guess, as much as I do my physical books, but I really don't have a preference. I kind of think both are good in different situations. Like if I'm laying down for bed, I typically will read my ebook because I can read it with the lights off and the brightness turned up. So yeah, it just really depends. Which do you prefer, owning or borrowing books? Owning books, obviously, and that's mostly just because I don't like the time constraint of borrowing a book, you know, from the library. You have so many weeks to read it and then you have to give it back, or just the added pressure of like not spilling anything on it, which I try not to eat or drink around my books anyway, but I just don't like the added pressure. The next question is, which book series got you into reading? And for me, that was the Land of Ilion series by Patrick Carman, and I do own every book in the series because I would like to reread them, but the series started when I was in the 4th grade, and I basically picked it up after we like watched a video about the series, like before a Scholastic book fair, that kind of thing, and I picked it up then. And I basically followed the series every year as books were coming out, and I just have mad love in my heart for this book because it is the series that got me into reading. The next question is, how did you discover Booktube? Probably through Bookstagram. I was on there first, and I found out about that through a BuzzFeed article, and then through Bookstagram, and I was pretty active on there. I'm more active, I would argue, on Booktube now than I am on Bookstagram, but probably through Bookstagram. I don't really know why. It was probably just somebody was like, hey, a wrap up, and I was like, oh cool, what's that? And then I was like, oh, what? Cool, people talk about books in front of a camera. The next question is, what challenges do you think you'll face in your channel? And my biggest thing I've faced is definitely coming up with original ideas, because so many ideas have already been done before. You know, so many people have talked about, you know, their favorite this, or have come up with the idea to do, you know, weekly stuff, and so I guess just coming up with a reason for why people should watch me, and, you know, like, it's not a competition, it's not, I do this as a hobby, I don't do this for any other reason, I do this because it's something I enjoy doing, but, you know, you're trying to sell yourself, and you're trying to convince people to give you their time, and I guess you know, it's hard because I always feel like I have to do more to do that, but I guess really I just have to try to be myself, which I try to do in every video. So the final question is, where else can we find you? And that's just to to link up your social media sites. I link my social media sites in every one of my videos, so of course they'll be down below. And you guys are feel free to follow me on Goodreads or Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat. I mostly just snap pictures of my cats, but you're welcome to follow me. But yeah, as usual, those are always linked at the very bottom of my box down below. Alright guys, so that was the new to Booktube tag. Again, I probably should have did this months ago, but I never did. But I think this is a really good introduction to try and, you know, just get to know the person behind the camera, i.e. me. But I mean, I feel like some of the stuff I definitely have talked about in other videos before, which I guess kind of makes this as a video pretty redundant. But again, I feel like I'm not an official on Booktube unless I do the new to Booktube tag, so I went ahead and did it. There you go, guys. I did it. But, you know, if you guys want to know anything else about me, if you have any other questions, I'm pretty much an open book. I'm always available to answer questions down below, and I'll see you guys soon with another video.